Alright, today I'm going to teach you how to replace an LCD display. It's a lot easier than a lot of people think. I'm going to teach you a different way of doing it where you don't take the entire computer apart. First step, like normal, take all the screws out the back. I already did that to save time. Take the back of the computer off. And unplug the battery. Alright, so battery's unplugged. Great, now you're done. People tell you have to unplug it and do all this. No, you don't. You can just leave that in. It's completely fine. Just unplug the battery. Next step, take a thin screwdriver and these two rubber bits on the display, they come out. Now, I find it's easier to use the tip of the spudger to kind of dig in and try to get them out. They are glued in, so it'll take a little bit of force, but don't worry, you're not going to rip them. They're silicone rubber. Put them in your tray with the screws. That way they don't get lost, because you need them. You need to put them back in, or else the computer looks ugly without them. All right, those are out. Now you just unscrew these two small screws here. All right, now that's out. Dig into this side rubber here and prop up this plastic piece. Now it's going to feel like you're breaking it. Don't worry, it's very flimsy. You're not going to break it though. You just need to, just like everything else, it's going to pop out. It's not glued in or anything. It's just plastic clips. Now it's out. Put that to the side. Now you're gonna have 5 screws here. These 2 big ones and these 3 small ones. Don't touch the big ones. They're the hinges. Don't take them off, regardless of what anyone says. Take off these 3 center small ones. All right. Now you've done that. You're gonna push this up. You're gonna push on the display. Just use your your sweaty fingers and push up on it until you get a gap about 1/8 of an inch thick here. At this point, keep that gap, and instead of trying to pry under it, you're going to just lift the computer up, and it's going to fall out for you. Now, be very careful. There is a wire here, there's a cable here you don't want to rip out because there's a lot of fragile stuff. But you got to get this old LCD out. So how are you going to do that? There are no screws here, just a bunch of cables. So the first thing, this has a pull tab. It's a sticker. Peel the sticker off, don't worry. Just peel the pull tab, it'll come off. Don't peel too hard. Okay, now you peel it all off. This gold connector here, this gold pin, there is a black bar on the front of it. Pull that black bar up and pull the connector out. That's out. You want to keep the sticker to reattach to the next one. Now, next step, 2 connectors to this board. I think it's a microphone and a LCD driver or something like that. So you want to just use your spudger. Don't use your fingers and don't pull on the cable. Just use the spudger to get these cables out. Alright, one's out, and you can unroute it from the cable housing. Actually, I'm going to do that here to give you some more slack. I'm going to take it out of these little snake labyrinth type things to keep the cables taut. And now there's a smaller one, same exact connector, just a bit smaller. Take that out. I got really long nails right now, so I can just use my nails. That's out. Now you want to just unwrap all of this. Just comes out. This is a sticker, don't worry. Just rip that off. It's just some tape. Keep on routing it. Keep on routing. Alright. Now you're at the camera bit. Now, people tell you to, take the camera off and take that's aluminum tape off. No, don't do that. Just take this and bend it backwards. There's a tiny itty bitty amount of glue. It's not really holding anything in. This is the camera. That's a microphone pickup right there. And they're drivers. Now you just take this cable out and it pulls out from the bottom. Done. Now you are all set. This is the panel. It is broken. Don't actually know what the problem is, but it is broken. Put this back in the bag in the box you got it from, and take the new panel and start exactly where you left off. What? Okay, this new panel does not come with a camera. That's okay. We are going to just gently take the aluminum tape off the old one. That is so weird. First step, we're going to line up, there's 2 holes. 2 plastic pins right here and 2 holes in this camera piece. We're going to line them up in the plastic pins with the holes and push this aluminum tape down. It's going to be the main thing holding this camera down. Now there's no glue here, but there is a little strip that we'll have to pull off to get to the gluey part. As you see, this aluminum tape, once you take it off, it is not very sticky. So you want to make sure you get a really good seal when you put it back together. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to flip it up. We're going to take this cable that we just took out, we're going to put it back in. Put this back. Alright, tape's on. Now we're going to take our little spudger, take off this blue protective film, and that's going to hold our glue tapes on it. We're going to just push everything down, make sure it lines up with these two black pins. Give everything a good push down. Alright, that's in place. Now, we will route this in later. We'll tape this in later because we can take up slack by adjusting this, so leave that there. Next step in business. Do a reverse order of what you did. So the smallest connector goes in first. Oh, too tiny. Alright, next step. Pull the black bar backwards on the gold connector. We're going to slide it in. It's a very rigid connector. Don't worry about bending any pins. It's very hard to do that. Line it up left to right. You're going to know when it connects. It's very distinctive. And now the black bar just folds down snugly in front to keep it in, and the sticker goes back on it to keep it down. Alright, now you're just going to reroute the wires that you undid. There's a bunch of little plastic clips. You'll find them, don't worry. The main goal, doesn't really matter how you do it as long as you keep the wires taut so they don't take up any more room than they have to behind this display. If you want to, you can take a picture before you take the display apart. That way you know exactly how they're wired, but I find it's not necessarily necessary. Alright, so that part is now finished. Now, this part, I start wiring from the back here, from the actual camera. That way I don't have any loose ends up top. I use my fingernail, or if I have short fingernails or fat fingers, I use the plastic spudger, the edge of it, to keep pushing this wire into these little crevices. Route it around. So now, keep it taut, put the sticker down, and now just take up the extra slack with the rest of these little wiring clips. You might have a lot of it because you might have done a better job than the original factory did. Okay. Next, and now reverse order. Just pick it up, fold it back, position it about an 1/8 inch down from the top, push down on all these sides and corners, give it a good push up, run your fingers around, make sure nothing's sticking up, make sure everything matches up. It does good. Find the 3 small screws. Now you took 4 out, they're actually all the same size, so sorry, you took 5 out, but they're all the same size, doesn't matter what you put back where. Remember 3 go in the center here, that keeps the display obviously locked in. Plastic piece goes back on, it just clips in. It's going to take a lot of force. You're going to feel like it's unnatural, but don't worry, just it clips right in, top down. Those 2 plastic pieces these 2 screws go into the corner of this plastic piece. The 2 rubber pads go on top of the screws. They should still have some sticky residue on them, or at least enough to get them stuck to the screws. That just makes it look nice, apparently. Everything is still plugged in. You didn't have to touch anything. It's a much simpler way to do it the way I do it, instead of taking the entire screen off. Now plug the battery back in, back on, plug into a charger, make sure it works, or the screen turns on. Nothing broken, no problems, no flickering or anything. Might want to test the the camera as well. Make sure you plug those cables in correctly, and you are done.